Hey everybody, now I'm doing an update about my Stephen King's It backstory, because the last one I just felt wasn't that really great to me. This one I felt I could do a little bit more updating. So what I'm actually going to be doing, I'm going on a wiki website to read the original backstory, because that's where I got it from, but I couldn't quite remember everything in my head. So, I'm just going to read everything I can off the website itself. So, let's see what we got here. It, also known as Pennywise or Bob Gray, apparently originated in a void containing and surrounding the universe, a place referred to in the novel as the Macroverse, a concept similar to the later established To Dash Darkness of the Dark Tower novels. Its real name, if needed, it has one, is unknown, although it has several points in the novel. It claims its true form to be Robert Gray, and it's christened by the name of the group of children who later confront it. Throughout the book, it is generally referred to as male. However, late in the book, the protagonists come to believe that it may possibly be female due to its manifestation as a large female spider. Despite this, its true form is never truly comprehended. Its final physical body is that of an enormous spider. This is, however, the closest the human mind can get to approximating its actual form. Its natural form exists in a realm beyond the physical, which it calls the Deadlights. Bill Denbrough comes dangerously close to seeing the Deadlights, but successfully defeats it before it happens. As such, the Deadlights are never seen, and its true form outside the physical realm is never revealed. I'm gonna scroll a bit here. Only described as writhing, destroying orange lights, coming to face with the Deadlights drives any living being instantly insane, a common H.P. Lovecraft device. The only known person to face the Deadlights is survive was Audra Phillips. Its natural enemy is the Turtle, another ancient Macroverse dweller who, eons ago, created our universe and possibly others. The Turtle shows up again in King's series The Dark Tower. The book suggests that it, along with the Turtle, are themselves creations of a separate, omnipotent creator referred to as the Other, who may be the entity Gan. Yep, that's Gan. The Turtle and it are eternal enemies, creation versus consumption, and it may in fact either be a twinner of the actual one of the 6 greater demon elementals mentioned in the Man of the Song of the Savannah. Susanna. Okay, I got that wrong, sorry. As the spider is not one of the Beam Guardians. It has arrived in our world in a massive cataclysmic event similar to an asteroid impact, and place that would, in time, become Derry, Maine. Though the novel It, some events are described through its point of view, though which it describes himself as the superior being, with the Turtle as someone close to his superiority, and the humans being his mere toys. It describes that prefers to kill and devour children, not by nature, rather because children's fears are easier to interpret in a physical form, and thus children are easier to fill with terror, which it says is akin to marinating the meat. And it continually surprised by the children's victories over it near the end. It begins to question if it's not as superior as once thought. However, it never believes that the individual children are strong enough to defeat it. Only the Other, working through them as a group. Now, here's the cycle of the story. How is it going along? So we already got the basic storyline of like his origins, how he became. So here's his like basic life cycle. For millions of years, it dwelt under Derry, awaiting the arrival of humans, which it somehow knew would occur. Once people settled over its resting place, it adopted a cycle of hibernating for long periods and waking approximately 30 years. Its awaking is always marked by a great act of violence, and another great act of violence ends its spree, and it sends it back into hibernation. So 1715 to 1716, it awoke. So then in 1740 to 1743, it awoke and started a 3-year reign of terror that culminated with the disappearance of over 300 settlers from Derry Township, much like the Roanoke Island mystery. 1769 to 1770, it awoke again. In 1851, it awoke when a man named John Markson poisoned his family, then committed suicide by eating a white nightshade mushroom, causing an excruciating death. 1878 to 1879, it awoke, then went back to hibernation after a group of lumberjacks were found murdered near the Kundiskeg. 1904 to 1906, it awoke when a lumberjack named Claude Hero murdered a number of men in a bar with an axe. Hero was promptly pursued by a mob of townsfolk and hanged. It returned in hibernation when the Kitchener Ironworks exploded, killing 108 people, 88 of them and children, engaged in an Easter egg hunt. 1929 to 1930, it awoke when a group of Derry citizens gunned down a group of gangsters known as the Bradley Gang. It returned to hibernation when the Maine Legion of White Decency, a northern counterpart to the Ku Klux Klan, burned down an African-American Army nightclub, which was called the Black Spot. 1957 to 1958, it woke when Dorsey Corcoran was beaten to death by his stepfather, Richard Macklin. Its first known victim was George Denbrough during one of the floods that the towns had every few years. It then met his match with the Losers Club, forced it to return into early hibernation when it was wounded by the young Bill Denbrough, George's older brother, in the first ritual of Chud. Yeah, the text's really small, I can't tell, so it's the ritual of Chud. In 1984 to 1985, it awoke with three young homophobic bullies beat up a young gay couple, Adrian Mellon and Don Hagarty. Throwing Mellon off a bridge, echoing real-life events in Maine, it was finally destroyed in the second ritual of Chud by the adult Bill Denbrough, Richie Tozier, Billy Beverly Marsh, Eddie Kasprack, and Ben Hanscom. Though this triggered the collapse of the water tower, flooding the town. In interviewing periods between the pair of events, a series of child murders occur which are never solved. The book's surface explanation as to why these murders are never reported on national news is that location matters to a news story. A series of murders, no matter how gruesome, does not get reported if they happen in a small town. However, the book's implied reason for the atrocities go unnoticed, for it's far more sinister. It won't let them. Alright, so now I'm going to read its powers. So we've already gone through its backstory, we've already gone through its cycles, now we got its powers. So it says its powers are able to do shape-shifting, says it can immediately transform itself into any kind of being, taking the frightful image directly from the victim's mind, regardless of its size or nature. It took the form of a giant plastic statue, several small life entities, flying leeches, or several human-sized entities. When the adult Eddie is confronted by the cadavers in Greta Bowie, Patrick Hockstetter, and Belch Huggins at the baseball court, between shape-shifting, it is an orange amorphous goo, which is somewhat close to its true form. Partial invisibility. This is clearly stated in several cases, notably when the adult Beverly encounters Pennywise in the place where she used to live, or when adult Ben Hanscom encounters it in the public library, suggesting not only those who could see it, who actually believe, or have knowledge about its existence, although it can become fully visible to anybody when it's necessary. One notable moment is when it helps Henry Bowers to escape from Juniper Hill. One of Henry's cellmates and then the guard also witness it next to Henry. Again, in order for this to be partial invisibility, it would also have to be not felt. Bev left the blood in the sink long enough for her father to use it multiple times without noticing. Its regular usage was more likely that the blood was a psychic projection, and that it was either left a psychic imprint or was perpetually maintained. The fact that it was able to instantly respond when the blood was cleared the first time implies that there might be a least combination of the two, if not perpetually maintained. Alright, so I'm running out of time here, so let me just read the rest of it. It can create many different illusions which may actually be real. Quick regeneration while it's not clearly invulnerable and in fact can be wounded and damaged in smaller, bigger degrees. It can read people's minds in close vicinity. This is the ability it exploits mostly when taking a form. In several cases it clearly reads the loser's thoughts and listens to them in their advantage. It can communicate telepathically, as seen in the scene in the library when the adult Richie Tozier or Juniper Hill is with Henry Bowers. And mind control ability. It can teleport itself in limited distances by disappearing without a trace. With the touch, it can instantly cause plants to die. And telekinesis, moving things with its mind. So, that's basically the best update I can give about it from Stephen King. So, hope you enjoyed.